Hi guys. So yesterday morning at 4 a.m. I woke up. When I woke up, I checked my clock and the clock said 4 a.m. I went back to sleep. When I went back to sleep, I was taken into a dream. This was the dream. I dreamt that I was at a voter center and there was a long line of people and I was in the front of the line. And right next to us, we were in a single file line, and right next to us was a table. And it was one of the white folding tables that you would have if you were to have say a buffet line or whatever. And to the left of me, it was a whole long line of people, and I had my ballot in my hand and they all had their ballots in their hand. So I'm ready to give my ballot in as I was next in line. And I said to myself, let me just check and see, if I can see what everyone else is voting for, or who everyone else is voting for. So I turn my head to the left and I see everybody on my left, right behind me. And I just see Trump, Trump, Trump. And I could see like the bubble where they filled in Trump, Trump, Trump. And I was just so surprised. There wasn't the other opponent. I just saw Trump, Trump, Trump. And I said, this is odd how I just see Trump all the way down the line. Just Trump, 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 Trump. I'm like, this is so odd. So then I looked to my right, and the man who was receiving the ballots, remember, this is a dream. So it's not like, you just drop it in the machine or a box or whatever. This guy, he takes my ballot and he says, and he looks over it. And then he says, you know what, you didn't complete this form. And I said, what do you mean I didn't complete the form? He said, were you ever a plumber? And I said, huh? He said, you used to live in Connecticut, right? I said, yes. And he said, and you were never a plumber? I said, no. That's just such a weird question. And then he asked me, do you have children? I said, yes. And then he said, have you ever plunged a toilet? I'm like, yes. And then he asked, have you ever pulled hair out of a drain? And I said, yes. He said, have you ever unclogged the drain? I said, yes. And then he said, I want you to write down on this ballot every last thing I just told you and every last thing you agreed to. You're a plumber. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. So I got the piece of paper, the ballot, and on the ballot it was a section where you could write notes. It was weird, like a square like this, and you could just write notes. So I wrote plumber at the top, and then I wrote everything I did: plunge the toilet, unclog the drain, all these things. Then the dream was over. I woke up and I said, Lord, what was that? Remind you, it was November 1st, and he began to give me revelation after revelation. He began to say that the people on the left, well, he gave me more revelation, and I'll get to that towards the end, but he said the votes that you saw on the left were votes for Trump. And there are going to be many, many, many votes for the current president. And then I said, Lord, what does it mean? Why did this guy ask me if I ever plunged a toilet or if I was a plumber? I thought that was so odd. I thought that was just like a weird part of the dream. But then God revealed to me, nope, that's not a weird part of the dream. He said the swamp will be drained. I'm like, okay. So that's all. I left that with that. And then last night after church around 6 o'clock, we had a prayer meeting at our church. Many people were there, and we got together to pray for the election. When we prayed for the election, we were told, well, as we worshiped first, to open up the atmosphere for Holy Spirit to come. And the person the person who came up who was offering prayer or just orchestrating a prayer, he said, now I want everyone to pray in the spirit, pray in the spirit. So we began to pray in the spirit, just voices just lifting up, just praying in the spirit. And then another person came up and then they said, pray in the spirit and walk around the sanctuary. So you have hundreds of people just walking around the sanctuary, just worshiping and praying in the spirit. And it was just the most beautiful thing. And my husband is like, wow, Jenny, that was powerful. We got back to our seats and then bam, Holy Spirit answers a question for me. This was in my brain. I couldn't figure out, and this was festering in me. And I don't know why. I said, why left? Why left? Why am I so concerned about, people to the left of me? What does that mean? Because I figured the left meant something, but I didn't know what left meant. Clear as day, as we were singing, as we were worshiping, Holy Spirit said to me this: the people on the left of you were the left. The people on the left of you were those who were the left, but who are voting for the right. These people aren't voting per se for a person. They're voting for what they don't want. And I truly believe that. That small part I added in. I believe that a lot of people are realizing, what the other side wants for this country. And there are people on the left who truly love this country, and they love, what this country could offer them in their future and their family. So that part I added in. That was not Holy Spirit, but Holy Spirit did say those on the left of you were the left. Those were the ones voting for Trump, 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 just down the line. Then, okay, so I said, okay, wow, Lord. And then I began to worship some more in service. And then I said, okay, fine. Well, what did the plumber mean? I didn't truly understand what he meant still by when he asked, if I was a plumber. I understood drain the swamp. I understood that part. And then the Lord brought back to my remembrance, he asked if I had children. And Holy Spirit said to me this. He said, the children were the children that's going to be freed by the votes of the people. And the reason why it was on the ballot asking if I was, or the guy asked if I was a plumber or not, was because the voters are going to be the ones who are going to help drain the swamp. It's not going to be the president to do it per se, but it's going to be the voters. So every last vote that is cast now or tomorrow will be the vote to help not only drain the swamp, but to free these children who are being murdered and trafficked, who are being murdered in their womb, and who are being trafficked. And that's the dream. That's the revelation that God had given me. Guys, vote, 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 pray and vote. Please remember, it is not who you're voting for, but what you're voting for. It is not who you're voting for, but what you're voting for. That's it. That's all I have for you. Please vote, guys. That's all I have for you. Have a great day. God bless you all. We'll see you November 3rd.